Most sales managers are stuck closing their own deals because they don't trust their team to perform. I get it, I was there. But in the last 6 months, I built a sales team that closes over $1 million a month without me ever jumping on a call. Today, I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it so you can step back, scale up, and finally build a real team with real freedom that actually allows you just to kind of step back and actually optimize and grow from an outside scope instead of just being the one taking those sales calls sometimes where I struggled with taking because it was very time consuming from leveraging the team to make them better, make them obviously a lot more efficient with their jobs and their duties rather than obviously you taking sometimes the sales calls. You'd be surprised. A lot of sales managers are actually the one getting on the battlefield, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you want to minimize that as much as possible. I want to take you back about a year ago. I was working literally 12-hour days, very casual for an entrepreneur, hopping on every call. I'm jumping in to save deals, dragging the coach with us on the sales call sometimes, and wondering why my team couldn't perform without us. If you're stuck there right now, constantly firefighting, trust me, it's not sustainable. I knew I needed a system that didn't revolve around my own personal effort to be in the battlefield because it's not the most scalable action or thing to do. So I focused on 3 things that really changed everything. Let's go ahead and jump on this Miro board. I want to go ahead and break it down more in detail so it can make a lot more sense. All right, I just want to go ahead and go over some track record. We've done well over 6.7, I believe, throughout the past 6 months. The first 3 months we were leveraging Go High Level for our invoices. So from January to March, we've collected $3 million over on invoices. That doesn't include wires, cash, and crypto. And then well over around March, we transitioned over to WAP. So from March, April, May, June, those 3 months, we've collected well over 2.5 million, close to 3, not including obviously cash, wires, and crypto. We're selling a 20 and a 50K ticket. Our lowest ticket is a $2,000 ticket. The majority of these are pretty hefty and it's a bigger offer. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the hiring standards because a lot of people preach the whole hire slow, fire fast. But before you get to the firing fast, you need to focus on the hiring process. What does hiring slow really mean? And it needs to have a system, not just for you to implement on, but as well as a system for you that is documented. A standard operational procedure has to be documented unless it doesn't exist. Clear hiring standard, for me, my biggest motto will be like 1 killer is worth more than 5 warm bodies. Fat cat closers, GH likes to say, but in terms of what it is, like it is true, right? 1 killer is worth more than 5 warm bodies. My non-negotiables, every candidate must meet these before moving to the next stage. So let's go ahead and jump into the first thing. So when I look into a candidate or closer setter, CSM, whatever the case may be, the past performance proof, okay? We need at least 12 plus months hitting quota in a similar offer, info product, coaching, or high ticket, and it needs to be documented. Documented track record, CRM screenshots, pay slips, reference, whatever the case may be. We obviously like to hire a lot from word of mouth. It's obviously a lot more efficient, more credible because these people are coming from reliable sources of people that actually work with them, which means obviously there's a lot of good things or bad things to know before spending time or even wasting time on the person that probably won't even be a good fit for your company, right? You think you know all these things, but when it comes down to you actually implementing them, especially on the hiring process, you just see a couple of people out of desperation. You just get on like these one-on-one meetings, ask these useless questions. You just read them out and then you put them into your sales team. You have access to Go High Level or your CRM. You add them into Slack and then you go ahead and test them out. They cost you money by blowing up these leads, whether they're organic or paid, and you're like sitting there saying, oh, well, this is not a good hire, let me go and fire them. You did them a disservice, you've done yourself a disservice, you just wasted time for what, okay? So you need to execute on this, and obviously, like I wanna be transparent, I'm gonna lay it out flat, I have no filters, so you need to actually have standards within yourself in the company, whatever you're building, right? Top 5 attitude, man, top 5% attitude, clear hunger to earn, no entitlement, and ownership mindset. You need to be coachable, right? If you're a candidate that's gonna come and work for a 7-8-figure info product company, or whatever the case may be, you need to have that coachable mindset. You need to be hungry, right? That grit, working 6 days a week plus, pulling 10, 12-hour days, because at the end of the day, that's what's required to be the best at what you do, and that's why we all love sales, uncapped, and whatever you hunt, you eat. and as it's true to be told, then you want to be coachable. A coachable person is a person that's willing to do their own due diligence, their own research, their own, practice, watch, scrimmage, and also have the comfortable, safe space to ask questions to be coached by the right person, right? You can't call yourself coachable if you're not doing all those things by yourself and you're just waiting there complaining and then asking questions on how you can get better, right? So having that mindset is very important, right? Then cultural fit. Every company has a culture, right? It could be the lazy culture or it could be the very efficient shark pool culture. Does it fit your culture? That's the first thing. Values aligned, accountability and discipline, no excuses, and then obviously coachable and willing to train daily. If you want to cut the headache, see if that person's coming from a good culture. Search up the offer that they were on, who's running that offer of that company, how's their success looking, what are they struggling on, and then why is that person looking to leave? Did he fit their culture? That's why he's not there anymore. Was their culture too much for him? Was he pretty much fitting your culture, and whatever the offer that they were on's culture is not what he's looking for? All these things are very important. So culture is important, past performance is important, the attitude is important. So then obviously the availability and commitment, because at the end of the day you want to be transparent. Can they work at least 40 hours a week? And are they committing into this, or are they just kind of delegating the job, or offer stacking? A lot of people do that. It's a no-go on this side. We do not like offer stacking at all. Okay, so the screening process. So the application and pre-screen, I'll say the resume is very important. And then obviously a Loom video or just short intro video explaining experience and earnings history. So obviously we do have a very tailored type form that pretty much nails down all the main things that I need to know before I even commit into a call with someone or a meeting to hire them or even go through the screening process. Resumes don't matter much. It's a lot of people think that, but if you can take the time to build a good resume, that's pretty much your portfolio, right? A Loom video is nice, correct? You can fill up a type form. Awesome. Good for you. But a resume is important, right? Everybody has a resume. Everybody has a resume, okay? I'll say role play round, right? Live objection handling scenarios and live pitch of a sample offer. Sometimes we do send like a sample offer that we have or whatever the case may be, and they need to record it and run those two by themselves or with someone for us to get an idea. Because at the end of the day, your dollar to hour is very much higher at the point where you're at, especially if you're running a bigger offer and you want to know if that hour committing to an interview with someone is actually going to be more efficient. It's going to be, like matching what you are looking for. Because initially you would want that interview to be the next step to moving forward. If not, obviously getting a grasp and understanding on how that person operates on a one-on-one interview or whatever the case may be. So you want to make sure, just like running the offer itself, you have a VSL, obviously you have right campaigns, you're split testing all these ads, you have the right creative that kind of goes through the qualification, what you're looking for. People click into it, they go into a landing page. The landing page has to be really nice. Obviously the VSL, then you need to have a good sales team, that has a great framework, great tonality, speed to lead, CRM management, qualifies the person, books them or disqualifies them, that fits the ICP. Then you need to have a good closer in place that has a framework, that has all these different things. And you'd be surprised. A lot of people do not have these systems. They don't have that. And that's not good. And then you're committing to a meeting or an interview with someone without going through all these things. For what? Okay, so that's my whole thought process with the role play round. Now, reference check. Okay, so speak to at least one prior manager or business owner about the person you're about to interview or the people you're about to interview, and then validate earnings claim. A lot of people say they close $5 to $10 million in high ticket sales. Man, that is awesome. Okay, but everybody in the space claims they've done numbers. I'll probably take back everybody. I'll say the majority. I don't want to generalize, but the majority of people claim these big numbers. Some of them are very true. Some of them aren't, but if you're going to hire someone, please make sure you are actually asking around. Don't just hire blindly. Don't hire out of desperation. Don't take people's words for things. People lie numbers. Don't. Final interview, culture alignment check, compensation expectations, and then start date confirmation. Right? Culture alignment check isn't just about obviously the questions they fill up on the type form before they come into the interview, but it's also about the past offers they were on and that culture that they kind of were used to, and then whoever was managing them or whatever they're used to as well from that part. Compensation expectation and start date confirmation is something we make it clear on our hiring forms and everything, but then we also like to point that out in the final interview to get a verbal confirmation or whatever the case may be. The person might have something else to say. So my biggest red flags, instant disqualifiers. hires. For me personally, I have standards. Like I generally have standards because you should have standards. When you have expectations, expectations lead to disappointment. That's just the truth of it. You expect something, you don't get it, you're disappointed. You have standards, you're only going to find the things that match your standards. Just like qualifying people into your offer and your clients that you're attracting with your marketing. You're setting a standard for the leads you want to deal with. They come in, they meet your standards. But if you're just expecting every lead to be a good lead, then obviously you get disappointed and you make no money. Same thing for hiring. It's literally, getting a client, same thing should be for you getting a rep. That's the truth. Why are you doing something different? I know people, in fact, we are as well starting this process where we are actually running our hiring funnel as a VSL, running ads into it to get the best top talent. And I can break that down in a video soon. So don't waste time if you see these, okay? Move on, right? No proof of earnings on track record. A lot of people lie, but numbers don't. Complaining about past teams or managers, that is not good. That is not good. I do not care if they didn't treat you well. If I hear people complain about others and stuff, that is not good. A good rep, a great rep, a shark never points fingers, whether they're working with the person or after leaving the company. They never ever do. And you can actually resonate with that even with the personal life, with your partner or whoever your ex may be. A lot of exes talk down their exes, man. But it's like they forget a lot of things. So don't want to deviate from the topic, but chasing the biggest split without caring about the product isn't really a good thing if you're going through a hiring process. And then the whole I'll figure it out as I go mindset. Now, that is not, hey man, a lot of people think they nailed the interview this way, saying, hey man, if I don't know a question, best believe I'm gonna find the answer. Hey man, I'll figure out as I go, I promise you. That is not good. I need you to be used to having systems, having SOPs, having the right frame, because we're not just running loose. This is an organization. It needs to be organized, and we need to treat it that way. Low energy or unclear communication. A lot of people create looms thinking they're nonchalant, and that's how you're going to get you hired. The majority of the people that we've hired, and they're actually crushing it right now, they had insane energy. Because even when you pitch a product, you need to sound like an expert, be enthusiastic, and obviously, have that high energy. You can't just be nonchalant. That means you're just so confident in yourself and expecting me to see you doing anything different on a sales call, even on a setting call. So compensation framework, this just kind of keeps expectation clear and attracts serious reps. Commission only or hybrid base, if applicable, of course. For us, we do commission only. Average earnings and role between 8 to 15K. Obviously, you can go ahead and check the video where I break down how to kind of calculate your on-track earnings, because you can't just throw numbers out there for people, thinking that that's how much they're going to make, but then they don't make that. You need to take factor of your close rate, your marketing, where you're at right now with the offer, and what would they look like, what would they actually expect from the offer and how much they can make within a month or two, and et cetera, et cetera. So top performer earnings will be 25K plus a month. For us, our top closers making between anywhere on a low month, 40 to 50K, top month, 60 to 70K, 10% commission, obviously. And our top setters are doing anywhere between 11 to 15K a month. It is a higher offer, of course. So we do our pay cycles bi-weekly. Some people do it monthly, but you need to actually break this down clearly to the people. So I want to go ahead and highlight on the funnel I've mentioned and how people actually run VSLs for this. So what we did, and what a lot of people are doing, big companies out there, they create a video that breaks down the company's values, the roles, responsibility, expectations, the vision, right? Then the ICP and what the offer stands for, so they can get an idea what this is for, and then how to apply, which will be the type form that's really well detailed and stuff. So the interview process, the first thing I would say is a group interview, right? Do not do one-on-ones right off bat. I would say the best thing to do is to host a live Zoom with 20 to 50 applicants. If you can get 10, 15, you get the memo. The whole thing will be just having a grouped one. The structure will be senior team members present, which would be either one senior closer or setter from the team that you have, as well as sales manager and the GO, and time pressured questions, right? It needs to be well timed, well detailed, straight to the point, so you can maximize on that 45 minutes, even an hour. I say between 45 minutes is just perfect, going through everything you need to go through. It's not a one-on-one, it's just nailing the most important things straight to the point. So observe, man, observe. You want poise under stress. A lot of people stress out, especially when they get on with other 20 applicants or whatnot. You start seeing the body language, how the person's sitting there, how they talk, how they use everything. You really do see a lot better than just the one-on-one. Clarity, coming from you and coming from the person and the people. You're gonna find how you need to project, honestly, you definitely need to project that clarity. And then you start seeing some clarity back. They pretty much just funnel themselves out on that call, right? Respectfulness and presence, how they respect other people they talk, how they, how hungry they are. You can see everything when there's a pool of sharks out there. It actually just helps the shark pop out even more. Purpose, compare candidates side by side, see real-time behavior, and then you're just gonna identify top 3 to 5 candidates for the one-on-ones. It's just the best thing. A lot of people try to like watch different looms, decide which one looks good, get on one-on-ones, and then they do like 5 to 7 one-on-ones a week, and then pick one at the end of the week. You can literally have a group call on Monday, and then set up 3 one-on-ones on Tuesday. You're gonna have your shark or 2 sharks within Wednesday, and then you can start with your process of the next step and how to get them onboarded and the ramp-up period. When it comes down to the one-on-one interview conducted by department's head, which is a sales manager, right? Blind to prior steps, which is amazing actually. So focus areas, I say cultural alignment, team chemistry, technical ability, and growth potential, right? So the self-interest from the people that you're going to be hiring would be, obviously, money is a motivator, but then what else would they want from this? What's the self-interest, right? What can they get from this? Is it growth? Is it getting better in sales? Is it making more capital to invest in different things? Is it them just becoming a closer then, or if it's a closer, then become a manager? Whatever the case may be, family ties, whatever the case may be, you need to actually understand that on that one-on-one interview, right? Team chemistry. Team chemistry is huge. You know your team better than anybody. And then you're gonna ask the right questions that's going to infuse that person to match the team. And then if that person you're interviewing matches how you are, and that's pretty much a reflection of how your team is, it just makes more sense, right? Record session and have another leaders review for bias. I think this is the most important thing we focus on. We don't do biased opinion from closers, setters, whatever the case may be. Biased opinions are very limited, right? Because you're only looking at it from a perception point. Always look at things from a perspective point. There's 5 to 6 different perspectives. It's less limited way to get more feedback and just a better understanding of what you're gonna get into. So having a different leader would be obviously the growth operator or the coach or just one of your top performers that understand the product and understand what you stand for a lot. I think that's just extremely helpful. So when it comes down to hiring interview, never send offers via text and email. Do not send, I say we send samples, but we don't send the actual offer and everything via text or email. So live call script, I say celebrate achievements, reinforce that the offer was earned once they get accepted. Set expectations. We call it hell week, but necessarily just a week of this ramp up period and seeing how they operate and how they manage and how they show up to the meetings and everything is very important, because I'd rather spend that 1 week after going through the whole qualification process, getting the right person, just seeing how they are in that 1 week. You know what I mean? It's just like Navy SEALs, really. I mean, a lot of people do apply, but they still got to go through a hell week after they get the right folks. So welcome them and answer questions. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of questions, but since you have SOPs, it's pretty much break down into SOPs and have everything detailed and structured for that person. It's easy transition and they can start doing what they do best. Send onboarding materials, kits, and gear to mark the moment. Obviously getting onboarded to your CRM, to your Slack, whatever the case, whatever you use. And that should pretty much speed up the process and get you going, because time is money. From you spending time onboarding them, ramping them up, qualifying them, the meetings and everything, it costs you money, whether you like it or not. And then once you get the wrong person, it's gonna cost you money. If you get the right person, it's gonna make you money. So make it efficient. If you're gonna do the job, do it right. So onboarding engagement, first 90 days, high workload to test performance. I cut it down to 30, honestly. 90 days to be graceful. Frequent check-ins and feedback. I mean, I literally spend probably like an hour or two a day, Monday to Sunday, just speed up the process, make sure everything is answered, because when you get the right person, trust me, they have the right questions and a lot of questions because they wanna learn, they wanna be coachable, and they don't wanna mess up. And mess ups happen, but you can tell. Celebrate milestones. Big wins, small wins, don't matter. Still a W. Celebrate it. It doesn't have to be crazy, but little bonus incentives, like little things. Very important. Builds a lot of culture. And people here, loyalty comes from being understood. If you understand someone, they're loyal to you and they like you and there's cultural fit and they're willing to put in the work, celebrate it. Continuously engaged team and mission and culture is extremely beneficial. So once you understand the core values and you have a clear hiring standard before you even get to the hiring process, and you know what you want out of these 4 main things: past performance proof, top 5% attitude, cultural fit, and availability and commitment. And then you go through that very detailed. And you go through your screening process. And then you highlight it and you make sure you're following this religiously by creating the right funnel, having the right type form, understanding your product very well, and then going through the interview process this way. That's what hiring slow is. In fact, it's going to literally minimize. If anything, it's going to minimize on the firing side. It's going to minimize it. Hiring slow, firing fast. Don't even get to the firing side. Just focus on the hiring side so much, you're gonna deal with less churning. Listen, churn rate is very important, and it goes down to how bad your hiring process is. Nobody should churn if your hiring process was so detailed and you got the right person. It shouldn't happen, in my opinion. Some people might churn for different reasons, different opportunities, different stuff, underlying intention that you didn't even know about, et cetera, et cetera. But you can minimize this so much more just by focusing on the hiring process. And that's exactly how I built a sales team, that closes $1 million a month without even me touching a deal. And of course, it'll be $1 million a month team that started with the right hiring process. If you found this helpful, go ahead and just drop me a subscribe. That way I can go ahead and put this in front of other sales managers, CEOs, growth operators that can benefit from this. I'm sure a lot of people know about this stuff a lot. Hopefully this could be a reminder and just me sharing about the things that I really focus on. Those little details matter a lot. A lot of people try to skip them, focus on the marketing, focus on those team meetings with the sales team. He's not hitting his KPIs, he's not hitting his quota, but did you really focus on your hiring process? Did you hire out of desperation? Did you have a real structure and SOP in a system? That's why you're firing so much. That's why people are churning. That's why it's costing you money. That's why, you're struggling on these one-on-one meetings, trying to level somebody up and think about their emotional side and all these different things. Yes, it's important, but you can minimize that. So drop me a subscribe. Go ahead and comment. I'm just very curious on who's watching the videos. Go ahead and comment what you do. And then any questions that you have, I would love to answer it with a video. Go ahead and follow me on X. I drop a ton on X, results, framework, and all that stuff. So I'll put my X on description. And yeah, I'll see you on another video with no fluff, no BS about sales, leadership, and management. And I'll see you on the next video.